Get 0% interest for 60 months on select best-selling mattresses. And visit your local Ashley store to experience our test rest and learn about savings options throughout the store with qualifying mattress purchases. Visit your local Ashley store or ashley.com today.
We certainly have had a lot of rain lately, so if you are a homeowner who worries a little bit when those rains come down, you run down to your basement and your crawl space to make sure things are looking okay, then you are in luck this morning because John Terry is with us. He is with Ramjack. They have been in the Chattanooga area for a number of years, but their first time on the show, so thanks for being here.
Thank you, Julie.
I used to have a house that had a crawl space in it, and so I guess I'm speaking from experience because it was an older home. And I worried because we would get water in that basement, and water can be your enemy, am I right?
Exactly right. Most soil foundation issues come from the soil and the water.
I think what's interesting about Ramjack, and we'll cover this conversation, is that you deal solely with the foundation of the house, right? So
that's correct.
You don't deal with the structural repair of residual effects. You hit the foundation itself.
Exactly right. We stabilize foundations. You have a foundation, you have a structure that sits on the foundation. So if your foundation starts to settle, it can cause you structural issues on the inside. So we stabilize the foundation, stop the downward settlement. But sometimes it's a structural issue, not a foundation issue. And so that's why we come out and assess it. We take about 2 hours to evaluate the structure and make sure that what we're prescribing as far as a fix is the actual fix for what you have going on.
How many times does your team end up talking to a homeowner and they'll say, I wish you had called us sooner? Do we live in denial and put it off?
We have people all the time that big cracks in their wall and they, oh, I don't think it's getting any worse, but you can stick your hand in the crack and it's like, it's time to do something.
Okay, so you're looking at some of these pictures, John, and I have to tell you they're daunting to me. I mean, to think about seeing a crack like that, I would think, how in the world are you going to fix it? But you use the word stabilize. So you're not necessarily having to go in and destroy, you're just adding to.
No, exactly right. So if you have an exterior wall that's settling, it's got the stair-step cracks on it, we can come in and dig at certain locations of the wall, support the footer, and at that point we can attempt to lift and close the cracks up. But what we're doing, and I always say this, the disease is the settlement of the soil. And so we're going to stop that, which is causing the settlement of the structure. So we're going to stop that in its tracks. We'll attempt to lift and close the cracks, but we have to work with what that structure is capable of handling as far as lifting. So we don't guarantee to close the cracks, but once we stabilize it, at that point the cracks are just cosmetic. And so you just seal them in.
Maybe a dumb question, but if you talk about stabilize or the erosion of the soil, you can't totally control nature. So is that almost inevitable for everybody at some point that a house is going to kind of shift?
Yeah, if the house settles evenly like this, you're okay. If you get what's called differential settlement, where one part of it drops and the other part stays, that's where you start seeing the cracking and stuff like that. So the good thing with our system is we can just focus on that area that's giving you the problem. We don't have to do the whole house to stabilize that area.
Is that unique to Ramjack?
I think some of the other companies can do the same thing.
Okay.
It's the piling system basically is we're going to take the load of the structure, and again the soil that it's sitting on is giving us the problem. So we're going to take the load of that structure and auger our pilings down into the ground to load-bearing strata. And so we're transferring the load through the bad soil down to the good soil, and that's how we know we can guarantee this stabilize and stop moving.
Talk about what is unique to you, because you're here as the face of it, but you're not going to everybody's house. You've got this team of people that are well trained.
Exactly right. All our crew leaders, our crew, our sales consultants, everybody goes to Ada, Oklahoma, which is where our corporate headquarters is, and they go through what's called Ramjack University, and we do that on a continuing basis. It's not one and done. It's a continuing, ongoing education, and because new things happen, new things come out. So all of our guys that come out, W-2 employees, trained, thoroughly trained with Ramjack with ongoing education.
That I did not know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that was going to be the answer. So does that mean that when a customer signs on with you and says, yes, I'm trusting you, do you back it up?
Oh yeah, exactly. We give a lifetime transferable warranty, and our warranty is life of the structure. A lifetime warranty sometimes is only 10 years. All right, so a lifetime life of the structure warranty means as long as the house is standing, our warranty is in place. God forbid fire or tornado or something like that, but as long as the house is here, we're here.
So if people pick up the phone and call your office today, when you mentioned that the assessment takes about 2 hours,
About 2
is that
hours.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that something that's complimentary?
Oh yes, free of charge.
Okay.
We do that free of charge.
Obviously, then you'd want the homeowner to be home to walk the property with you, right?
Exactly right. We want, I mean, the homeowner has lived there 10, 15, 20, 30 years. We come in the first time, so we want as much feedback from them that they think they have a problem, what their problems are, and then we take and do our assessment and go from there. But the more feedback we get from the homeowner, the better.
Is there a myth that people think this is more of a problem for an older home than a newer home? It can
Yes.
happen to anybody?
Yes, exactly. Well, and then you get the other thing where you have a 100-year-old home and the customer's like, oh, it's not going to settle. It's going to do all the settling it's ever going to do. Well, it's all about the soil. So if the soil decides it's going to settle, it doesn't matter how old or new the structure is. And a lot of the newer homes, they're building them so fast, they don't compact the soil properly. So you're sitting on uncompacted soil. Eventually it's going to settle or consolidate, and which drops and makes it settle.
Okay, and before I let you run, maybe too complicated of a question, not a quick answer. Is it better to build on the ground directly as opposed to a slab, or it can happen to anything?
Well, it can happen to anything. Slabs, crawl spaces, basements, they all have their own unique things that can go wrong.
Okay, and do you ever, if you're building a house, can somebody call you at Ramjack and y'all can kind of inspect things as things are going?
We don't do that's more of a geotech kind of thing, geotech engineer, and they can come in, if they think they have bad soil, they can come in and do soil borings and get basically a report on the soil that they're putting the house on. And at that point, let's say you have a lot and this part of the lot's fine, but the geotech figures out that this part of the lot, the soil's bad, we can come in and put pre-construction pilings in there, and then they can build the structure on top of our pre-construction cap.
This was like a pop quiz in the 8th grade for you this morning, because you came in to a very hectic studio. There were dogs around and musicians around, and in you walk, and you and I did not have a planned conversation much at all before leading into it. So I liked your honest answers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You can give them a call at Ramjack. Their phone number is 865-935-8613. They are very much here, 15 years or so in the Chattanooga area. Online, it's easy, ramjack.com. Go on there. You can find the closest location for you to give a call.
Exactly right.
Nice to have you here.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
The people and places